just stay tuned and enjoy the ride. We're going to bring you some info, some up-to-dates, and we're going to go back. And then your girl's still going to come back and kick it with you with the word on the street. And unfortunately today, Miss Touche, Tayski, I'm sorry, Tayski, she couldn't make it today. She couldn't leave work in time. So maybe we can have her at another time. But today is going to be all and about Mr. Ross and Pep work, and we're going to get this thing going. He got a lot of juicy info for us, and hopefully you'll get some peeking on what's upcoming with Pep work, okay? So stay tuned. And Brother Lawrence, you have anything you want to say to people opening up the show?
Thanks for tuning in, and we're going to just talk basically about the beginning of Petworth. Anything, you want to find out, you can call in. Kim got the number. But we're just going to kick it, sit back and kick it, and we're going to address a couple of issues from last week or a week ago.
Yes, sir.
What Billy said, why the band broke up and all that. But, it's best to hear from the horse's mouth when we got the horse in here right now. So.
And he's speaking of quote unquote the interview that was held on Fox Wave Network about 3 weeks ago, probably, right?
About 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, about 2 weeks, because I was in the Bahamas.
Okay, yeah, about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So this is the update or recap of that. So if you was paid tuned to that, you'll see what Brother Lawrence and Mr. Ross got in store for you today. So with that being said, go ahead, Mr. Ross. You want to play us a selection from go ahead and explain what you get ready to.
Yeah, Petworth Band is getting back together, and it's kind of hard trying to get all the members back together, right? And formerly our old Ghost drum. Right. Ghost, he was one of the brothers back in the day. We talk about 80s. When did you come to the band, Ghost?
I was still in school, so it was probably 81 to like 85. Yeah, 81 to 84, 85, and then.
Right, so basically, wow. Petworth Band, we wasn't called Petworth at first. Actually, we was called the Northwest Band.
So we'll get into that after the break. Yeah, because I didn't even know that.
Yeah, actually, my brother Quentin Ross had started a band. I was in UDC marching with the UDC marching band, right? Okay. Back then it was, Lil Benny was in UDC marching band.
Okay.
Funky Ned was playing the tuba.
Funky Ned. All right, let's just say all that for the interview stuff.
I'm trying to get this song to play, but it's not playing, so we need to go on.
Okay, well, with that being said, like you said, we're going to go through like the Petworth histology. We have like I said, the founder here, and like he said, he's going to bring us up to date on some things like he just mentioned, trying to recruit the members to do a comeback reunion. And I know that's kind of the task that you said.
It's kind of hard. We done lost a couple of good band members over the years. So everybody is getting old. Basically, like when the band started, I was like maybe 20, 21. And I didn't know that it was going to take off the way it took off. We just started a band. And then the next thing I know, once we started playing it, we did a lot. The band used to be in Summer in the Park. So I don't know if y'all remember that back in the 80s.
Yeah, Showmobile.
Yeah, Showmobile. That's what it was.
Yeah.
All my band members was in Summer in the Park. It was their summer jobs, obviously me because I was a little older, so I maxed out of the program.
Right.
I was getting a check.
You used to get them checks.
Yeah, back summer jobs till I got a little older. And then my brother Quentin Ross, he the one who helped start the band also, right? So they kept on getting their checks. But anyway.
Okay. So go back and you say, when the band first started, Quentin started the band.
Quentin Ross started the band.
Okay, and then, so you say he was in UDC or you was in UDC?
He was in UDC too.
And you say Funky Ned was in the marching band with the two?
Yeah, Lil Benny. Donnell. The one that
Donnell Floor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Donnell was in the marching band too because we played saxophone together.
Okay.
Then also David Ruffin, if y'all remember him, played saxophone for Trouble.
Yeah,
so all of us was in the UDC marching band back in the day.
So that's some history right there.
Yeah, that's
real history. I told you we got histology, and I didn't even know that. We got it right here. So And being though, with that being said, so
True.
when you trying to
Let me recap on that. Let's
Okay.
recap on all that because the mics wasn't on. It was on me.
Oh.
It might have picked up through your mic. Now you can hear. Let me turn the monitors up. Check too.
Okay.
So on that note, when Howard Voss didn't start the band, Quentin actually started the band, and the band was called Northwest. You said
Northwest Groovers or something, Northwest Band, or I kind of forgot.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it
okay.
was- I remember Northwest Groovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Northeast Groovers.
Oh,
but
No,
okay.
this was Northwest.
This was Northwest, okay.
Because that's where we was from, Northwest.
Up in Northwest.
Right.
Okay, so and then you say he was in UDC marching band along with Funky Ned, Lil Benny, Donnell Floyd.
Donnell Floyd,
David Ruffin.
David Ruffin. There's a couple of more people I can't really remember because we talking about back in the 80s, 79 and 80s.
Right.
So,
Okay. And so therefore then y'all was playing Showmobile because you say I think that's what made it take off because y'all was in a lot of different spots.
Right, I
and
remember we
places.
played at the Carter Burns, bunch of places like Rock Creek Park, wherever the Showmobiles was at back in the day.
Right.
And our band was kind of formatted because Ray Essence had a little Benny and we
Right.
had a little Mike. All right,
Oh,
Lil
okay.
Mike played this trumpet
Trumpet.
too, just like Lil Benny. So a lot of times when we would play places, people from afar be like, "Is that Petworth or that's Ray Essence?" Just
Oh, okay.
because, just
'Cause
because
the little guy on the mic
yeah,
talking.
because Lil Mike on
Yeah.
the trumpet. And then I think in about 81 or 82, the bands started getting into a color thing, right? So Red Essence, they always claimed the red and white.
White,
Okay,
right.
I mean they were so particular down to the anvil cases
Right.
was red.
Red and
so
white.
then we kind of Petworth, once we saw called Petworth, we kind of picked up the blue
Yeah,
color.
red, white and blue.
Right,
Yeah, that
so-
royal blue. This color like this room.
Right, so Red Essence, they had painted their speakers red, so we painted our speakers blue.
Right. And then
this-
Class, they had the green and white.
Right, but I don't think they never painted their speakers.
Yeah, they had
Did
some green
paint their
speakers, yeah.
Yeah, so I know that Petworth, we was the second one
Yeah, they
to
probably was the
copy
third, yeah.
after Red Essence because
Okay.
back in the day, I mean, me personally, I was a Red Essence fan.
Right.
Even though we had played with Trouble and we played with EU and the other, what I would say the bigger bands. To me
Right.
back then it was always Chuck Brown, Godfather,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had the three other larger bands. Now I'm not going to put them in a different order because back then they was fighting for that position.
I remember because around that time, 81, 82, that's when I came in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this is not what someone told me. This is what I experienced. It was the bigger bands was the Red Essence, the Trouble, and the EU.
Right.
right,
But
right.
the closing bands was considered the top bands. So Red Essence will always close the show, and that's why Trouble and Essence didn't never play together because
They would've-
they
They
was
were
closing
the
the
better
show.
band. Right.
So Trouble would have they shows, and people would be on their roster, and we end up on the Red Essence roster. And EU will always come on just before Red Essence. We would open up. Then it would be EU, then High Theater or wherever, and then it'd be Red Essence closing the show. And then it got to the point Go-Go was getting so popular. Red Essence was playing at a high school, right before they come to the Howard. So on Fridays they would play like at Spingarn, leave Spingarn, and come to the Howard.
Right.
So then we started doing that, right? We would play at a high school. And then-
yeah. Well, once back in the day, one thing that really made and break the bands, and I want to go back because we missed a band that I respect a lot because they gave us a start too, was Mass Extinction.
Okay.
Yeah. We was, like, Mass Extinction was a Northwest band, so we was a Northwest band. I remember we used to play before Mass Extinction a lot too. And keeping in mind, let's go back when we were saying
That was before me, before I
right.
came up.
We
yeah.
talked about the 3 or 4 largest bands, so let's get into what I would say the middle bands, like
Right.
the Petworth, the Air Raid, Pump Blenders, Peacemakers Band, Remember Riz and the Boys.
Yeah,
Okay.
Resinwood actually came a little later because I remember Mass Extension, but Mass Extension had that Trouble Funk sound because they had
Right.
Big Simeon
Right,
with that
right.
deep voice.
Right, you right.
They used to hit that, give it to me 18
times,
you know what I'm saying?
48 time
So
boogie.
yeah, and we used to see them at block parties before we actually I actually played with Petworth. So I remember the Mass Extensions. I remember the Peacemakers because we used to go up to Cave Yard.
Right. That place back in the alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but when I seen Rare Essence, the first time I seen Rare Essence, that was at Dunbar, not the old Dunbar, but the middle Dunbar, and
I'm just driving, I can't swerve.
they came with a whole. That's your music.
Yeah, that's my music.
Okay,
I
they
finally
came-
figured it out. So
They came with a whole next level, entertainment. They was like real bands, like the bands you see on TV. They came with the lights. They used to always have the lights going, stepping. They always had on some kind of red and white uniform. So that made everybody step their game up. You know what I'm saying? So the Peacemakers very seldom got on their shows at the Howard Theater.
right. I don't know how they did the shows, but I remember my first encounter with the Howard Theater. I used to go to the Howard Theater, matter of fact, and watch wrestlings on Friday nights. And then once our band progressed, one of the things back in the day that really made the bands was the sound systems. Okay, most of the little bands like us, we didn't have a sound system, so we had to play on wrestling systems or other systems like that. But once we created our own sound system, we pretty
Right.
much went for ourselves. Now, I remember the first time when I ever met Miss Mac, Red Essence manager, when she was asking me, do y'all got sound equipment? I was like, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. She said, we're going to give you a shot at the Howard Theater. I want you to be there at a certain time. That was just like, to me, like playing at the Apollo or something like
Yeah.
that. 'Cause
So let
I
me
was-
ask you this though: how did that hookup take place? With you actually meeting Miss Mac for the first time and getting to play at the Howard Theater every week?
I got Miss Mac number. Don't know where I got it from, but I gave her a call, and she was like, didn't even heard of Petworth Band. Okay,
Right.
so she was like, got your own sound equipment? I was like, yes, ma'am. She said, be down at Howard Theater that Friday at 8 o'clock. And this was like on a Monday or Tuesday, and all week long we just couldn't wait to that Friday to
Right,
get
right,
there.
right.
To get, I mean, it's like playing at the Carnegie Hall, you know
Right,
what I'm saying?
that was the big
That was
service.
the first bigger place that we played at other, you know, than the Coliseum later on down the line, right?
Right, right.
And that first show, we did good. We was the opening band. It was only Petworth and Rassens, right? And of course, Petworth did our thing. And then Rassens came and did their thing. And I just couldn't wait to go see Miss Mac. I'm not gonna talk about the type of money we got paid back then because that was like 30 years ago, right?
Right,
but,
right.
But that first
I think
show,
I remember the pay though. It was like $300.
yeah.
For those, not to interrupt, but those who don't know, Brother Lawrence, when he was saying we, back then, you know, when he was saying, well, we were the bands that consider, he was also a member of Petworth. So,
Yeah.
Right.
so those of you didn't catch that.
And of course,
Right.
we know Lawrence back then as Ghost, but
Right.
what we want to get into is how he got in the band.
Yeah.
And I think it's around like October, somewhere around about Halloween time, and Ghost, and that was his name. And you know, we used to have this.
But actually, you know how I got that name? Cavalloo.
Did it?
Yeah,
Okay,
Cavalloo.
okay.
I had at the time, I had a white drum set, right? And I actually had the white drum set because I was a Rare Essence fan. and when I was getting my drum set, I had to get a white set because Foots had a white set, right?
Yeah.
And so, because I had, back then, before I got with Petworth, I was in Chaos.
Oh, I forgot. We didn't name Chaos Band. We didn't name Chance Band.
Yeah,
either.
Chance.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
not more and more started popping up as the years was going. But, and I found out about Petworth through Black Rick. You know, may he rest in peace. But actually, when I went to see him, like you say, y'all had your own sound system. We was with Chaos. We had a little rinky-dink PV. You know what I'm saying?
The little sound
Yeah, we ain't had the
right.
serious stuff. So we would see Petworth, and they would play at block parties and had the system and shit. So in my eyes, they was like a big band. We was like, damn, they got it going on, right? You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you about the sound system. Just like I say, back in the day, all different bands had different systems, right? Like Essence had their own system.
Right.
Trouble had their own system. Hot Cold Sweat had their own system.
Right.
But I used to just watch Essence equipment, and everything that Essence had in this
Right.
effect rack, I went out and bought everything that
Right.
Essence had at that time.
Right.
So once the equipment we have our own equipment. That's when, to me, Petworth really started doing good because we had our own. We didn't have to rely on anybody else's
Right.
sound
You hear that?
equipment.
Let me say this. God bless the child who has their own.
God bless the child.
Right.
So,
That
yeah.
God is on.
And then once we took off with the Howard
say it,
Theater
bro.
after that show, Miss Mac, when I went to get the money, she said, your band sound good. You want to come back next Friday? And I was like, yes,
Wow.
ma'am. But then I will say
Off that
this.
first hit.
I will say this. She listened to the show. She said, but y'all can't play the roll call because our roll call sound like their roll call. Well, honestly, our roll call was like Rasson's roll call.
But you know, I was there that night. I remember that night. That particular night, see, you got to realize, Rare Essence was from Southeast.
Mm-hmm.
James Funk knew all them people personally.
Right.
That's how he was from Southeast. So Southeast people used to come to the High Theater, and when they hit their roll call,
But
he
see-
would hit it. But Calvin Lou,
And to put it out there, my cousin Dern Frazier, ex, was a member of Red Essence. Yes.
And
the keyboard player. though.
Keyboard player.
Okay, I didn't know that was your cousin.
But what it was, all bands had a roll call, but it's just the way you did it. See, Essence, we got Lance and Chippy, But what we did, we put 4 names that we would go, we got Lance and Terrence and so-and-so and so-and-so. You know what I'm saying? Then we would recap ours with, who did you leave?
Did we leave? Did we leave
leave
anybody
anybody
out?
out?
But this
Right.
the thing. Like I said, this nobody told me this. I lived through this. That night we hit the roll call for like 45 minutes, right? We started off and we hit the roll call, but see, John Cavalier was from 7th Street. Just like I say,
So he
Funk
knew
was from
everybody
South
down
Beach.
there by the Howard Theater.
He knew
right.
the 7th Street. He knew the Uptown crew. He knew everybody, and the crowd was just like, you know what I'm saying? You know how in the back there smoking that whatever they were smoking, I don't know if it was whack or boat, and we shut it down. So that brought some attention, and I believe that's why she said,
Don't
if you
do
hit
the
that
roll
roll call again, you won't be playing
see,
that. But
once we got that second, third show, so it was just like every Friday night, Petworth Red Essence gonna be at the Howard Theater.
right,
Every Friday night. And then so what was happening, then since I established a good rapport with Red Essence and Miss Mac, right, that she was depending on us to be there. Like you were saying, Lawrence,
Right.
earlier, sometimes Red Essence, they would, sometimes, believe it or not, they would play first. And they would leave, and Petworth was closing the show. That's when I used to like them. We gonna play after the Essence, not
Right.
because we're a bigger band, just because they have a prior engagement,
Right.
right? So other than Rare Essence, I mean, we played with Trouble Funk a lot.
we played with Trouble Funk after we had an incident. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, what was the incident? Let
Correct me if I'm
Let me
wrong.
see where you're going with this.
Correct me if I'm wrong. But the incident was Miss Matt wanted to manage Petworth.
Yes, it was.
She came up to the house to Petworth practice.
It was.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Chip, because he asked the band, he brought it to the band and everything. And most of the band was like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you didn't really want to do that because that would not kind of like put you out the picture. But you would have got paid, and I know we would have got more shows.
Oh, yeah.
But for whatever reason, you still got to respect his decision because he created Petworth. That was his baby.
Correct.
And that's just like somebody coming to you, your baby can sing real good. Let me take your baby. So,
Right.
so when he basically turned it down and said no, that's when a lot of our shows stopped
Yeah, it's
playing
kinda-
down the How. So we had to go basically to Trouble Funk because that was the next big thing. So we would go and play down, like Trouble Funk would have a show at the Washington Coliseum with some bands.
The Atlas
And Red Essence
Theater.
would have that
Yeah.
next week. They would have a show at the Coliseum, but we wasn't on that show.
Correct.
And see, I think for me, that's when the excitement started going down for me because I was just a Red Essence fan.
Yeah.
You know, I would leave the Trouble show and trying to make it to see Red Essence. You know what I'm saying?
That's how it was, though.
So-
That's a bad, the bad, yeah.
Yeah.
But see, back then, as you was talking about with the Mac, Rasson's manager, Miss Mac episode, was that, yes, she did talk about managing the band. And I was all for it, but I was explaining to the band members. Now, if she takes over and goes, if she want to get rid of you, there's nothing that I can do about it.
Right,
you know what
right.
I'm saying? So
And we wasn't even looking at that part.
but
We just looking
that's
at
what
Miss
I
Mac.
was looking at.
Right.
That if she started want to control my idea and start changing my members, what actually be
But let me
honest,
say
I'm gonna
this,
be
though.
honest with you.
Let me-
I thought she just
go
gonna
ahead.
take the band. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, because it was I didn't have no what you need.
Copyrights, no nothing
Copyrights
back then,
and,
right?
and all of that. So that's one thing that I was really afraid of, that she was just going to like
Right.
take the band, because I know once we started playing shows, people gonna start calling her for Petworth.
Right.
So that was one of my biggest fears. So that's why we kind of declined letting her be our manager.
Yeah, but that, like I said, that to me, that was your thing. So my thing is, you know, we grown now. I probably did the same thing too, you know, because, you know, you create something, you don't want somebody to come take your creation, you know. And then my thing was, I don't think she would really wanted to get rid of anybody because
the band was already
we
performing.
was already
Yeah.
tight
Yeah,
and we
that's
was doing
right.
it. So that would bore her to us.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But you know, I could say you could have did a contract, woo, 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 but that's neither here or there because that was then,
Right.
and this is now. So there was a question I wanted to ask you, and but it'd come back to me.
Okay, well,
Okay,
what?
well, can I
go
throw
ahead.
one in
Go
there?
ahead, go ahead.
So, when did you integrate into Petworth? How did he find you? Let me switch
Yeah,
the
let's
interview on
talk
you.
about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really want to
Before
comment.
you,
Before
I'm
before
a
you
comment.
get too far into anything else,
Yeah.
when did you integrate into? How did you?
Okay, like I
come
said,
across
I
Mr.
was in a
Ross?
band called Chaos,
Okay.
and it was a band called Unifunk right up First Street, and there was another band called Total Groove that Tony Fowler used to play for.
Right.
And way before Petworth, we used to play down Surson Court, and sometimes Total Groove used to come down there and play. We was like battling each other. So I don't know how Tony had found out about Petworth, but at the time, I guess he was playing with Petworth, and Rick say, Ghost. When in Ghost, he said Lawrence. Because his band broke up. You know, they was going into service and stuff.
Right,
So
right,
he
right,
hooked up with you some kind of way. And he said, Tony going to be going to the service.
Right.
And you can come up there because they're going to be auditioning drummers. I said, yeah, I'll come up there and audition. And so through Black Rick. But I had seen Petworth at a couple of block parties. And that's when I said they was a bigger band. And the reason why I say y'all was a bigger band, because y'all had a sound system
Let
and
me
we
recap.
didn't.
Just like I say, once we got our sound system, right, when we talk about giving back to the community, people will call me. I wouldn't ask for no money. Block party, that's another reason why Petworth really, a lot of people knew about Petworth, because Petworth, if you give me a date, a block party, I'm going to be there. I had
Right.
my own sound, I had my own truck.
Right.
And so Petworth did a lot of free stuff.
Yeah, because they was young, right? And then see, you got to realize Go-Go was still new and fresh.
Right, and then
You understand
the
what I'm saying?
appetite
And they
for it
loved,
was-
yeah.
It was real hard.
And it wasn't 100 bands or 200 bands. It was like probably 5 or
6
no more than
bands.
10, about 8. You know what I'm saying? That we knew about that was on the circuit.
Correct.
And Petworth kind of gave other bands a hand up because they would let neighborhood bands open up for them.
But you know
At
what?
a show.
Keeping on
I mean,
that,
at a block party.
Keeping on that topic right there, just like I would tell a lot of people, if Petworth would have survived, Backyard used to play on our equipment. back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Right before the Amos, I mean, when they was little boys.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, because I
certainly
remember
they-
Sauce playing at that church.
Yeah,
And I was like, who is that little Congo player? And I
Yeah.
told Billy, I said, you gotta watch it. I ain't gonna
the
be
same
like
way
that.
Junkyard too. They
Yeah.
used to use our equipment, our sound system. Even though Junkyard was original, actually playing on Junkyard. I gotta
Right.
tell y'all a good story about Petworth and Junkyard after they made sardines. What
Right.
we went through, but we were, we had touched base on that right there. That I'm
Yeah,
trying
that's
still trying to get this
new too.
music
That
to
was
play.
something, yeah.
Okay, but back to you. So when you came in, so you said you was with the band
Total.
called
Was you hearing that through the monitors?
Chaos.
Yeah.
You said you was with the band called Chaos, right? I don't think I'm good.
Yeah, she said 8.
Yeah, I think you were with the band called Chaos, right?
Yeah, I was with Chaos.
Chaos. And so what year? Do you remember what year was that?
Okay, so I got with Petworth around 81, so it had been 80 and
Okay.
79, 80 something.
Oh, okay. So you had a couple of years up your belt of experience before you hooked up.
I
with-
actually started with a band called Distant Between Time, but it wasn't go-go, it was R&B. And then when we started Chaos, that's when the go-go thing started with Chaos. And then I played with Chaos for a while, and that's when Black Rick told me they was auditioning drummers for Petworth, and I went up there.
So Brother Lance is a skin beater.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let
get
me
them
let me say, I'm so used to calling him
Ghost, okay,
right? Say,
yeah.
because he had that white drum set, right?
Uh-huh.
And when Lance did come to audition, I don't know, can't remember if you bought your set, because I know we had a set up at my mother's house where we
Okay.
used to
Okay.
practice at, right? But me,
I don't think I did. I just came up there to
I'm
audition.
going to say that Lance did get the job. He could play, okay? But what topped that off, he had this brand new white drum set, right? So and just like I say, back in the day, Foots had a white drum set
Yeah.
also, right?
Okay.
So it was like, and then John Cavallou gave him the name Ghost, right? Now, between being a band manager, I used to play in the band. I used to play saxophone, but I dropped out of playing the band and run the sound system and stuff like that. And one thing that I would say about Ghost, sometimes we would get at the show, and we would, Petworth, we always had this thing that, honestly, equipment breaking down. We'd be playing halfway through the show, the power would go out, and we even just
like
created.
that guy from Voxway, he said, every time Petworth played, Cavallou always say the monitors. Why he always talk about it? He asked that question if you
Yeah.
watched that interview.
Right.
So it was like a few things about the sound, but go ahead.
Yeah, but our sound system used to always go out. We actually created a song called "Y'all Ain't Got No Power."
Yeah,
'Cause
so
every time
if you hear that was Petworth.
right,
That started with
every
that.
time our power used to go out so much, and it usually be go out like when we cranking. Right, and I'll be
Yeah.
honest, I'm back there playing.
All the juice get drained.
Yeah.
Your
And-
stuff get hot.
and-
Wires
and so-
start frying.
Let me
So-
say this to that.
Go ahead.
And it got to a point when the power wouldn't go out, he would hit the mute button.
I would cut the PA board
yeah,
down
just
just
the
because
crowd,
I want to
yeah.
hear the crowd say, "Y'all ain't got no power." I'll be back on the PA board. I'll be like, "Watch this." I used to just slide
Tease
all the
them.
I used to slide.
That's how I used to get them crowd.
And the way it went, that the sooner power would go out, the crowd would say, "Y'all ain't got no power," and then all of a sudden our bass player say, "Doom, doom, doom," and then Kev said, "Da da 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 da, boom, boom."
Yeah, that
boom.
became a
Building it
groove.
back up.
Yeah, that was part of our album that we put out.
That
and-
live, it was a
Yeah,
live
yeah, it
album. I
was a
think I
live
remember
album.
my son
Yeah,
and them
yeah,
having that. Because
yeah.
my sons and them, they know about y'all. You
Oh,
know what I'm
okay.
saying?
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
another thing that really turned Petworth to be a bigger band back today. Because I remember it was us and a couple other groups. We
Yeah.
went into the studio with Shine to record us, right? And
Right.
everybody kept asking me, Chip. Well, my band name is Young Boy back in the day. They used to always ask me, when the record gonna come out? When you gonna get the record? When you gonna get the record? And I swear to God, I was coming down Georgia Avenue one day. And I heard, I think it was the Moon Man, right? It was talking
Yeah,
about
the Moon Man
new
back
go-go
then.
band Petworth. And then when I started hearing, because we got Tricky Rick, used to be the DJ for Red Aston.
Yeah.
We had him on the beginning of our
Introducing,
album, right?
yeah.
And when I heard that, I actually was speeding up just to get home to get on the phone, because we talking the 80s. Ain't no cell phone.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So it was like, I felt like, if y'all remember the movie The Five Heartbeats, when they first heard their radio.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
And I just couldn't wait to get home. But after the album came out, that what really got a lot of shows with different bands.
Yeah, because I
also.
used to remember hearing
That
it
was
on
the
the back then,
introduction.
WOL.
Yeah, that was.
WOL, and like used to play it all the time, like during the week when it wasn't no Go-Go's. Go-Go's was like Friday and Saturday.
Correct.
And Red Ashes used to play on Wednesdays, right? But during the week, everybody used to listen to WOL. And then when I heard the Petworth on the radio for the first time, I was like, that was like a high in a sense, wasn't it?
Yeah, because the simple fact now that
I can imagine.
well, I mean, see, the one thing about this, that all of us, I was the oldest. I was like 20, 21. So all the members, they was 60. How old was you, Ghost?
Back then, I don't know. I was young.
18,
I was a teenager.
17 or 18, something like that.
I was a
right?
teenager. I was in high school. Yeah, high school. So I'm thinking
That
16,
picture with
17.
you down in your studio with the bush.
With the bush. I ain't had no bush when I played with Petworth. That probably was way before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
with
when
the
I was in
flower
high
shirt
school-
and the bell bottoms, that was before.
Nah, that was chaos days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the Jackson
I'm
5.
telling all of y'all, brother been in this for a minute,
Yeah, the
okay?
big bush. I don't trip off that shit. I was a Jackson 5 fan
Yeah,
back
we
then.
had-
Boom, 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 boom. Who wasn't?
We-
Most of our music come from that
Okay.
right now. If you break down them bass
Yes,
lines
yes,
and them beats.
you're right.
Yeah, so-
You're correct. You're so correct. So we got that selection
I
loaded
was
up.
still trying to work on the head at one
Let me
point.
see Josephine.
Yeah. But yeah, once we did the album and everything, and the band really picked off. Now, I guess around about the band was 84, something like that, the album came out. But we noticed a big drop in shows, okay? And what I'm saying now is that wasn't the band. We did have a lot of fighting in the Go-Go back in the day, because we
Right.
had the different gangs. We had the different gangs. We had the Hill Boys. You had
the
the
H
A-Team,
Street,
and then
8th and H.
Yeah, and then when that
Mhm.
incident happened on 8th and H, that kind of really shut the Go-Go down, because the guys
got
that
real bad.
committed the crime came from the Go-Go, and they committed a crime on 8th Street.
And then not
Right
only
there.
that, remember the young ladies was getting real lucid. they
Yeah,
were jumping
yeah,
on the
yeah,
stage,
yeah.
daggone there, getting naked,
But see,
and
yeah, I'm a
all that stuff started bringing it down.
That's
you know?
when the PCP hit the
Correct.
market,
And
right?
the crack.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, we called it Love Boat, and then again we can put that in one of our songs. John Capital was like, "What you want to smoke?" And we would say, "Love Boat, Love Boat, Love Boat, Love Boat." So we even made a song of that. But one thing about being a band. The Go-Go is basically about the crowd participation,
Correct.
right? So that's when the hype of most Go-Go shows is when you have the crowd participation. What I would say, the fans, okay? And the big thing used to be, Northwest and Northeast and Southeast and Southwest. That used to be the main thing.
Right.
So, but what we're doing today, we had 2 reunions since the band broke up in, say, about 87, 86, somewhere around there. That's when I know.
Probably like 87.
Yeah,
I left
noticed
in
that-
85.
Yeah, I remember the decline in the shows. You know,
Wow.
it was getting so bad. That,
Well, on that note, just hold off on that one.
Okay,
And then we're
okay.
going to take a break. And then when we come back from the break, we can pick up on the demise of the band or and some more stuff, you know.
Oh yeah,
but,
we got a lot to talk about there.
yeah, so
Yeah, we got another hour and 5 minutes to go.
So we got Hal Ross, the founder. Well, I say Quentin Ross was the founder,
Right.
but Hal Ross was the mastermind behind the
One
plan.
that gave it the name Petworth because we was a Petworth band.
Oh, you
Community.
came up with Petworth.
Yeah, I came up with Petworth.
and you know,
yeah.
Petworth
Oh,
It's a community.
it is
It's a community.
Oh, so
That's
yeah,
what I'm saying.
that was
Yeah.
community.
That's what we lived
Right.
at.
So yeah, so that was smart. That was like the mastermind of the band because when you come out with stuff, basically you gotta have logos, you gotta have names, and most people come out they name. If you come out with something and your name don't represent what you do, It's going to be like a conflict of interest with the universe trying to move you forward. So, and a lot of times people come out with names, and I had chaos, and everywhere we went, it was trouble. You understand? So pick your names wisely when you choosing and when you creating.
And look, think on that note before we go to break. We did have, my brother did get his other band together after I kind of took over Petworth, and they was called the Pet Boys.
Yeah, I remember the Pet Boys.
Yeah, the
So
Pet
let me say
Boys,
this
yeah.
too. I wanted to ask you, okay, when I said about names and logos, that logo, that dragon, who thought of that? Who idea was that?
Actually, it was our Tim Barley, player named Bird, right? He just,
Carl Stick. His name
Yeah,
I remember
he
Sticks.
just
He's actually a
drew-
photographer too.
Yeah. No, that's Sir Ellis. That's who that was. He just created it, and I liked it. The band liked it.
He had put the
and
P in the middle of it.
I think he just drew the dragon. I put the P in it.
So
But
he
yeah.
he never say wow, nothing. He just brought it up.
No,
there and
but
said-
I think it was so cool because the
Probably
name
wings.
Petworth kind of just reminded me of a pet, and it was like a type of animal. So it
Oh,
just-
okay, I see what you're saying.
For some reason, it just fit the. It was meant to be. Put it that way.
Okay, because when I seen it, and you notice a lot of bands do it. Because Red Essence had that R.E. with them wings.
Right.
EU
Right.
had the
wings.
man and the lady, with the wings.
Right.
Trouble Funk, they had a lightning bolt, but you can plate the lightning bolt back to Lucifer. You're laughing, but it's the truth. And what did Trouble represent? Confusion. And that
Yeah.
lightning bolt. So
Right.
they logo matched their name. So, I always wondered about that dragon.
Yeah,
So,
well, like I say, to me, it was reminded
And it
me
was
of,
fire. Fire.
Yeah, it just reminded me.
So fire, something hot.
Petworth was like a pet, and then we was worth something. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So there you have it. So we're gonna play these tunes right here. We're gonna play two of the newer songs from Petworth, Josephine and what was the other one?
Waiting for the world to
Waiting
change.
for the
That's
world
a
to
remix,
change.
John Myers.
So, who was that? Quentin Ross again?
yeah,
putting
that's
that
Quentin
together.
remixing the John Myers. Now, Josephine, Quentin's wife, is Josephine.
I figured that probably
And
was that.
actually, I think we had Freak Body. We did a CD maybe about a couple of years ago called Freak Body, just a remix.
Right.
And on the CD, her grandson Keezy, a lot of people heard of the Keezy. He's a
Was rapping on it.
DJ, rapper here in the city.
Okay.
And also, she actually rapped on the CD,
Who?
Josephine.
Oh, she rapped on
Yeah,
it too?
she's on the.
Okay.
I'll see if we can find it and pull it up. She's actually
Wow,
singing
that's history
Spanish.
right there.
Yeah, she's singing
Say
Spanish
Spanish?
on a Go-Go CD.
Wow. Check it out, guys. And this is called
For the Love of Josephine.
For the Love of Josephine.
They call themselves Petworth, bad and show.
Go down.
I go out by myself and I look across the water, and I think of all the things that you do. In my mind, I paint a picture. When I come home and I'm tired from work, I see your pretty face and the way you love to dress. Don't you ever think about leaving me? Oh, how I love my Josephine. My Josephine. My Josephine. Yeah, my Josephine. Sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water, and I think of all the things that you do. In my mind, I paint a picture. pretty face and the way you wear your hair. Don't you ever think about leaving me. Oh, how I love my
So I'm taking them to the
Josephine.
border, money over disorder. A strong black woman, my mother, she is your daughter. Handling all your business, cooking up in the kitchen. 22 and some more time, you and Big Quentin. Y'all gave me what I need, y'all gave me what I wanted. Don't want me smoking trees even though I keep a blunting. Yes, I am their grandson, yes, I stay stunting. I'm walking up on competition, ain't no running from it, huh? For the love of Josephine.
Oh, how I love my Josephine. Oh, my Josephine. I love my Josephine. Yeah, my Josephine. I love my Josephine. Yeah, my Josephine. Ooh, my Josephine.
For the love of Josephine.
I love my Josephine. I love my Josephine.
My Josephine.
Sometimes I don't want to get out of bed, man. Things are so bad in the world today. Look like everybody waiting for the world to change instead of trying to change the world. Me and all my friends, we're all misunderstood. They say we stand for nothing, and there's no way we ever could. Now we see everything that's going wrong with the world and those who need it. We just feel like we don't have the means to rise above and beat it. So we just waiting on the world to change. We just waiting on the world to change. It's hard to beat the system when we're standing at a distance. So we keep waiting on the world to change. Now if we had the power to bring our neighbors home from war, they would never miss the Christmas, no more ribbons on their door. And when you trust your television, what you get is what you got. Cause when they own the information, no, they can bend it all they want. And we just waiting on the world to change. We just waiting on the world to change. It's not that we don't care, we just know the fight ain't fair. We keep waiting on the world to change. Ooh, I wish there was some place that we could go to energize our minds, bodies, and souls. Then maybe we could learn to love and grow, but we just won't.
Look, come on y'all, I think we gotta change the world. Every day I'm working harder and I got a little girl. I want her to be successful, I buy her diamonds and pearls. On the road to like we riding, I'm just driving, I can't swerve. I just look her in her eyes and tell her, baby, it's love. I know it's hard when the police just make us sit on the curb. We gotta change if we're trying to change the world. Just take care of the future, don't let them know how it was. We moving on, we know about Dr. King, trying to be doctors and kings. See what impossible brings, we love it, no hate in this thing. I'm focused daily, trying to see what the happiness brings.
on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. One day our generation is gonna rule the population. Keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. We're just waiting, we're waiting on the world to change. We keep waiting, waiting on the world to change. 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 Waiting on the world to change.
Those two selections. Check one. We're back, and
Hello. Welcome to this go-go.
that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Talk a little on those two cuts, Josephine and Waiting on the World to Change. There was two tracks that Petworth put out recently, right?
Yes, Josephine, that is my brother's wife. And of course, he loved her so much and all that
He
stuff
made a
like
song,
that.
huh?
And he made a song called "For the Love of Josephine." Now it's basically go-go, but it's a little bit slower than just a upbeat go-go that we have right here. And then also "Waiting for the World to Change." That is a go-go message. We always trying to change the world.
Yeah,
okay?
we're
'Cause
always
so much-
trying to give the world a message through. That's why we preach every week, me and Brother Lawrence. It's always, it's always a message.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's always a message.
Yeah.
That's what make your work worthwhile when
man.
you get that message out.
And music is a blessing to all. Sometimes
for
when
sure.
you're
Right.
feeling down, you put on some good gospel or good music just to settle you. Okay? So as we were saying, the whole thing about is getting the band back together. Okay? That's the biggest hurdle that I'm coming across right now. Because I know that the go-go world has changed, because we're talking back 30-something years ago. And it's amazing that go-go got its own name, okay?
Its own music class.
Right. That's one thing about DC. We can say we got our own. And even though it's not going nowhere, but let's
Hold on. When you
But
say
you let
it's
Miss
not going
QB,
nowhere,
you let Miss
what
QB
you
tell it
mean?
from
Let me
our other
ask you
interview. She said it came from North Carolina
Let
because
me-
Chuck came from
Let me
North.
ask you something.
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
what you expound on that when
Go-Go,
you
she
say
says-
go-go is not going anywhere.
Well, because I'm going to tell you, a couple of weeks ago, my son got married in Atlanta, Georgia, and my family went down to Atlanta, Georgia. And during the reception, even the DJ from Atlanta, he just said he's going to play some DC music. You know what I'm saying? And he put on some Chuck, right? I mean, we didn't ask for it, but he knew that we was from DC, so he's familiarized with the DC music.
Correct.
Okay, so that's what I was saying, that even though go-go music have changed a little bit, we can talk about that. It's because like some of the younger bands today, they kind of play the bounce beat type of.
Yeah, they go a whole different route.
Right,
now.
right, but they still consider it as go-go. But back then, when we was the younger band, like I say, we was playing go-go. And different bands always had their different followings, okay? Just like we was talking about the Rassons and the Chuck Brown, the different types of band. But one thing I was saying that when Petworth, we used to play in the community, we had a spot, 14th and Irvin. It was a playground, right? Even though they didn't build buildings on it. We used to go down there every other Friday night and set up and play.
Just like Ray Essence had Highland.
We used to go play every other Friday. You can find us at 14th and Irving. And one thing I used to like about that is we'd be playing, people would be coming up 14th Street. They used to just jump off the bus.
Yep.
Yeah, they would just get off the bus. And before we know it, we will have a basketball court full of people.
Exactly.
Peaceful. One thing about it, I would say that one time we played 3 times in a day.
Right, right.
We did a
I remember
Brentwood
those,
Festival, and that was something from the Showmobile, the Brentwood Festival. We did Letroy Park, and then we went to 14th and Irving.
Right.
And all three, I mean, we wasn't getting paid. You know, like I
Right.
say, we had the band, we
Right.
had the truck, and we had the sound.
We did it for
equipment.
the love of it. I mean, we did go-go. That was us.
Right. Even
You
though,
know?
just like I said when we was talking about, we
We
never
had
had
some
no
other
power.
benefits. We
Oh,
had
yeah,
some
yeah.
other benefits, but we ain't talking about
I'ma
those
tell you
benefits
what.
on the air.
Some of my band members today, they married to the same woman that they met back at
On
the
the
Go-Go.
bad time.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So, but like I said, I'm looking forward to getting back into it. I know it's a lot of obstacles me as a manager have to get into. Far as the promoters out here today, most of the main promoters back in the day, they are gone. Like Mr. Joe Clark, Ted that ran EU, Miss Mack, and all of them.
Right.
All these guys gone. So
Right.
I got to get with the new promoters, and if y'all
This-
listening
but I'm
out
gonna
there,
say this too.
contact
Let me
Chip
say this
Howard
too.
Ross
Let me say this
for
too.
Petworth Band.
I'm gonna say this to that. From my experience, and it's like a lot of bands, they not letting you in. When they build something,
They
they
want to keep it membership
they want to keep it
closed.
to themselves because they don't want anyone coming in taking. Now every now and then you might get some people to let you on their show, but here's my thing: do your own thing. You
Oh,
understand what I'm
yeah,
saying?
no doubt.
Because when you get hot,
Yeah.
they gonna come to you.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm like always was the guy that want to cut out the middleman.
Right.
Because really you don't need a middleman. When I used to see back in the day, I don't really want to say names, so I just say a promoter.
Right.
I would see a promoter promoting the show, right?
Right.
Paying the bands, right? And my thing was, and then at the end of the day, after promoter, he done already paid the bands. He walking away with a stack of money.
Oh, that's the why.
And I'm like,
yeah.
shit, we know how to rent a club. You know what I'm saying? Or even if a club owner got a bar and selling food, check this out. I'm going to bring these people to your club. So I'm going to give you the bar and the food. Let me get the door.
Right.
You know? So then that way I can pay my band more money. You see what I'm saying? And we can get trucks or we can have a bank account. You know what I'm saying? But I seen promoters walk away goddamn near
Nah,
rich.
right,
You
right,
understand?
right,
Off the
right,
bands every week.
You know.
And you understand that?
Hey,
I can't go down that road.
Speaking on that, I just wanted to say this is somewhere I call it memorabilia, right? When you said checkbooks, right?
Uh-huh.
I still had Petworth Band checkbooks. Like,
Okay.
I mean, so they're like 30 years old.
Okay, yeah.
So
I got a lot of
you-
old stuff too.
But you know, the thing about it was, let's go back because I'm stuck in the past because that's when the band broke up back in the 80s, right? As I said, I was the manager. My brother Quentin was assistant manager. I was young then. I mean, I didn't really know what I had, or only thing I know is to go play places and collect the money and pay my band. And believe it or not, honestly, and Ghost, you remember this, some shows I would pay my stage crew before I would pay the band because the stage crew did
Yeah,
most
they
of the
did the
work
work.
before
Yeah, they
the
did a lot of
band
work.
played.
Right.
So as I was saying now, like I said, I'm kind of stuck on the past, but I want to fast forward and try to move along and get the band together. And we're going to change our ways, but we still want to be Petworth. So yeah, we still going to play some of our old stuff, our old music and things like that. But we just got to just say bring everything up to date as it is now. Okay?
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
now, just like I say, the go-go today is still kind of experiencing some of the old stuff, right? Some of the chef tables then got closed down.
Let me say this because you didn't really answer that question.
What was the question?
That question was, you say go-go ain't going nowhere. Go-go is
mean-
worldwide. It's just what you gonna do with it.
No, what I'm saying.
You understand what I'm
no,
saying?
You're missing what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm
When
just going by
saying
what you
not
said.
going anywhere, not going nowhere physically, I'm saying is go-go will never die out. That's what I mean when I say go-go.
Oh, okay, cool.
See,
Okay,
you
I
thinking
got
to
you.
talk about
Yeah,
go-go.
yeah.
Go-go has already been around the world.
Right, okay, cool.
because
No, I mean, you
just
cleared
what
it up,
I'm
'cause see,
saying,
some people might have been thinking
they
what I was
thinking.
thinking,
When
you know
I
what
say
I'm
it's not going nowhere, I mean it's not.
It's here.
It's not going to be extinct. You know what
But
I'm
actually,
saying?
two other people starting to play it that's not from here. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You can pull up YouTube. They got a Chinese band playing go-go.
Oh, wow.
You got a few
Wow.
other people. You understand what I'm saying? I'm telling you.
I have to see that.
So what's going to happen is, even like with the Jill Scott, if you play that song crank.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
But
You
don't-
seen Snoop Dogg bobbing his head the other day. If you be on social media, listening to that Rare Essence tune, phone say, "Are y'all ready now?"
Well,
and
well,
down Club
don't-
U. So they know about it, but don't get mad if outside people start playing it.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
actually
But even if they
reggae music,
But even if they
we
do
play
try
that
to-
here.
Even if they do try to copy it, it's never like you
Like-
said.
like-
It's not gonna sound like the original because like
I beg to differ on
another
that.
band, but
I
another
beg to
band
differ.
can no other band say put your Gucci watch on and synchronize the time and let's
Let's
rock.
rock,
Can
right.
no other band do
Listen
that?
to me.
Can no
I
other band
seen-
do that and it would sound the same? You know
Listen
what I'm saying?
to
Like
me.
it
Listen
came
to
from
me.
Rare
A
Essence.
musician is a musician.
Right, but I'm saying they
Just
could
hear
do
me
it,
out.
but it ain't gonna
But
sound
we
the
can
same.
say that,
I'm with you.
But
I'm with you.
You with it, but I done seen it happen. If you're a drummer and you listen to go-go, actually go-go is really not that complicated. You know what I'm saying? It's like, to me, it's like two types of go-go. I'm gonna explain myself. Far as like the percussion, that's what drive go-go, right?
Right.
You got some bands that would take a go-go, a record, and put a beat to it, right? But if you listen to Chuck Brown, that boom, ska, boom, boom, ska, boom, boom, that's a pocket.
Right.
He played his music around the pocket. So people can two-step all night, even vibe when they play their music. They two-stepping and it's cranking to that pocket beat, right?
Right.
So that was go-go. Now you got some like the one-on-one. That's not a pocket. You got
That's music.
doing the do. No, I'm saying the beat. The beat change.
Right.
It's not a pocket, but it's still considered go-go because a go-go band playing it. So what I'm saying is you got drummers out here, congo players, that can listen and study, and they can learn go-go. Even the bass player, it's certain things that make go-go. And once they learn that, don't say that good musicians can't learn it.
Yeah, they can
They
learn
can
it.
learn
but
it,
They because
and,
it's not.
and it will crank. I'm
but
telling
it's
you.
not original like we was talking.
I ain't saying it was
It's-
original.
I mean,
What I'm saying that it could be copied and it could crank if they do it right.
Right.
Right. Now, let me ask you, since you're a drummer, right? I basically always thought that the go-go, basically the beat was taken from dance to the drummer beat.
No,
That's
because
what-
dance
that's
to the
what
drummer
that's
beat is
what I
a
was-
different beat. That's boom, ka, boom, boom, ka, boom, boom.
Okay, I
ka,
got you.
boom.
Okay.
So Rare Essence used to hit that. So, and then when you had your Congo players playing it and your Timbali player and they putting that little extra to it, that flavor,
right.
like sprinkling, you got some chicken, but you sprinkle some up, spice it up.
Right.
So, but the original go-go beat was the pocket, came from Mr. Magic.
There you go. That's,
You understand
that's
what I'm
I was trying
saying?
to get to. Right.
So, and then you would do different Congo beats. So, like you might have Rare Essence doing songs and Foots will put a different beat to it, right? And like I said, you can't go wrong with the pocket because you can just listen to bands that actually base their songs around the pocket versus go-go playing different beats. So, that's...
Now, just like I say, back in the day, Junkyard, even though these guys was actually seriously like really playing on junk, trash cans and everything, they had a little keyboard right now. I want to talk about this one incident because back in the day, the bands, it was like you might see Trouble Phone, Petwork, Junkyard, right? So when Junkyard made Sardines, right?
And y'all remember that, right? Those of us in our era, it was going sardines, hate than pork and beans. So
Okay.
that's what he's talking about.
Now,
guys.
now this I gotta talk on this subject right here because this really touched me, right? Okay, so the headline used to be, let's say, Wrestling's Petworth Junkyard, right? Junkyard made sardines. I forgot what year it was. They made sardines. So Joe Clark booked Petworth and Junkyard at the Panorama Room. Okay? All right, so Joe Clark was a promoter. He didn't tell me how the show was going. You know, he just called me and say, hey, I got a job with Junkyard at the Panorama Room. So I'm like, cool. So when the posters came out, it was a big old Junkyard with a little Petworth band on the bottom, right? So my band members, they couldn't believe it. Okay, now how did Junkyard get all over top of y'all all of a sudden? That's because of sardines, right? So going to the show, because the bands used to have a thing, who gonna play before each other, where your name was at on the posters, right? So we had to play in front of Junkyard, right? And which, of course, the band didn't really care for that. But me as a manager, I'm explaining to the band, that don't make a difference. We're going to play anyway, right?
Correct.
So I said, now this y'all got to listen to this story. I still remember this. It was like, not a nightmare, but it was like a truly upset. Put it that way. it was like an upset, right? So anyway, Petworth came on. The place was packed. The Panorama Room, that's small. It was packed, right? So we had everybody dancing and everything. So after the show, while Junkyard was setting up, you know, my band members was on the side of the stage, and they was like, yeah, man, we gonna crank Junkyard. We gonna crank out Junkyard. And I was like, well, let's see how their show gonna go. Now, usually when you have a hit or something, you usually play that last when you get ready to leave. Right. So we cranked that that hard when Junkyard was time to come on. What's the young guy? I mean, this time they were little boys, right? But at this time, when Junkyard was setting up, me and my band, we standing on the side of the stage, backstage, and my band was talking about, yeah, we cranked Junkyard. I was like, I don't know, you know, they little boys, but, you know, remember I said that because they was the headliner, they played after us, right?
Correct.
So, Lil Bud, back then, he, I don't know, probably like 12, 13. It was real quiet, right? And I still remember just looking at him. I still remember it today.
Right.
He hold his head down, took a deep breath, said, sardines! It was over with. The crowd said, hey, and pork and boom. The next time everybody started jumping around. Yeah, I mean, they came out with sardines.
Right now today, if they playing the crank.
Percussions,
but I'm just saying, usually they play sardines at the end of the show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So even though we did our do, they started with sardines, right?
Yeah, because they had to come behind that act.
Right. When Young and
Fight fire with fire.
Well, he held it out.
Back then, they knew how to.
See, I believe it was they manager. That dude, he wrote a lot of their material. What was his name? They manager name?
I can't remember.
I can't think his name's gonna tip my tongue.
But I never forget that night though when he held that note out, sardines.
And everybody
went crazy. Look, we headed for the back door.
Time to go.
Time to go.
Put the church finger up.
That's what I was just saying. Just like that. Do.
Yeah, put your ass on, sing the nines of time.
That's just their print, that's their blueprint.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I said, just like you guys, like the sardines. You know, these bands had blueprints, and you know, and I was like outside banders that was on the outskirts. We used to perform when the bigger bands did, when like you saying AU and Trouble and Rest was the big bands, but Petworth and
Class Ray.
What was the all girl band?
Pleasure.
Yeah. See, when all they wouldn't show up, they came to little outskirt bands. Like my band, we was called Future Talk. We was right from over here off of High Street in Southeast.
Oh, okay. What was y'all name?
Future Talk.
Oh, okay, Future Talk.
We used to play at Savoy when they used to have we bring canned goods. You know, when the weather got bad and other big bands couldn't show up, so
Thanksgiving
they
time and
got
stuff
out to
like
come
that.
out and perform. So yeah, so you know, like I said, I was on the bottom pole to total the other go-go bands, but I still had the pleasure of you know, like I said, because my cousin X played with Red Essence, so I still had a chance to get out there and see you guys, you know, on the front skin of it. But you were saying, like you were saying, before you go into the deeper story of the blueprints of how these go-go bands, and you said they're not going anywhere, but where do you stand on this thing at right here in DC where they talk about soundproofing?
Well, you know, I think that's, I hate to say it, I think that's all the politicians well, I'm not going to get into prejudicism, but I think that because I go downtown a lot, and I see the brothers out there with the drum set right there on 7/8. It's a young lady. She does the karaoke thing. She got her little guitar, and she have a little seat where you pay. You can pull up a book, and you can sing songs, and she'll play it. The lady is very talented, right?
Wow.
And things like that. I think that the politicians is, because most of these acts downtown that you see are our people.
Correct.
You know, it's that just like it used to be a guy down there had a drum set. You know, I walk past, I support them all the time. I give them some money and everything.
Too. Yeah.
Let me say, go ahead.
But yeah, that's something now. I don't know if they passed that law or they still
no,
trying to.
My brother at WEAC Radio over on, on Martin Luther King Avenue, he have an ongoing fight. Keymon Freeman, the gentleman that runs WEAC Radio over there, which you know, used to be a WEAC been there for years on Martin Luther King Avenue. I believe his mom passed it down to him, but the young man runs it now. He still got it going. They got a bookstore in the basement. It's beautiful. They revived it and everything. But anyway, he's an advocate for that. And what I've heard of was that a lot of people were saying that, as I know, I went over there and signed on to the bill, because my thing, I'd rather hear our gifted, talented people, as we have always heard. That makes the city. That's DC.
Right.
You know, you can't. DC is nothing else. Just imagine if you remove all those street performers, how just hearing sirens and construction. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, there you go. That's the politics. But they could come over into Southeast and open up bars.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They could come over
U
to
Street.
Southeast and U Street in our neighborhoods. Where, you know, where our kids go to school and have to go to bed at a certain time.
Right.
And open up, open up establishment that goes all the way up until, like, just like H Street. I remember H Street used to be nothing but just stores. Now, that's the new life.
Yeah, it's a new Georgetown.
Yeah, so well, let me say something to
On
that,
that soundproof?
too, on that effect.
Soundproof in DC.
Go-Go, like you say, is not going anywhere.
Right.
I just watched a clip on YouTube. It was, I don't know who actually produced it, but they was on a boat, right? And they was by the water. And they had 3 Congo players. They had Mickey Sauce and Junkyard Congo
Oh,
players.
yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, but it was based around the beat, right? There wasn't no lead rapper up there rapping.
It was all
and they played
percussions.
congos with the music that was created by Go-Go. It was all Go-Go music.
Right.
So when I seen that, before the guy even said it, I was like, damn, that water, right? How we got here through the water on them slave boats.
the
Right,
You know what I'm
significance.
saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's deep.
You
Yeah.
start putting the significance with it.
And back in the day, when our ancestors was beating on them Congo drums,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And they
Coming
was
over that
dancing
water.
and doing all
Right.
that on the dirt fields and stuff. So fast forward, we playing still on them Congos.
Yeah, history
right?
pieces.
So
yeah.
they can't get, no matter what they do, it's never going nowhere. Because
Exactly.
that's us.
See,
you understand?
that's-
The only
makes
way they
me
going to
see-
get rid of that is get rid of us. And they can't get rid of us. When back in the day, when I was playing with, when I was playing with Petworth, Chaos, you know, and we got older and we got into other things, right? When they dropped drugs in our neighborhood and all this stuff.
Right.
I actually thought Go-Go was going to die out. after we went out and did our thing, whatever, that younger generation, they carried it on.
Correct.
Yeah, but you know,
And I mean, it's not going nowhere.
yeah, that's what.
Even
see,
if they
now
have
you
to
say-
play in
see,
garage.
now
Now
you're saying
he's-
the same thing that I would say is not going nowhere. But first,
Yeah,
he
but
took
when you
the
were
wrong
saying,
way.
yeah, because that
You
the
didn't
way
know
you
what
had
you mean.
said
But
it. So
see,
yeah,
Gogo already been around the world.
Yeah.
I was looking at YouTube one day, and I'm just looking at Trouble Funk playing in China.
yeah.
They went
Okay.
to Africa.
And Trouble,
Right,
and
right,
Chuck
right,
Brown
right.
all around with
And-
Japan.
And
Yeah.
just
You know,
like now let's go back to our album that we made in 83, 84. The thing about it is that back then, I don't know if you knew, Lance, I had a guy that come from London.
yeah, we took them pictures.
That did an interview. We was
Yeah, I
actually
was
in a
with I was part of the
magazine.
interview.
Yeah, we was, and that was right after we made our album. That I had got the band, Petworth Band, Jackets, Blue and
But
White.
that's when they say Sean and them was selling our music over there.
Well,
and
yeah.
we ain't get a dime. You
well,
know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, still today.
You remember that?
Yeah, still today is that I didn't know no better. Still today, I wish somebody called me and tell me like, "Hey, young boy, we have a royalty check for you
I know that's
somewhere."
right.
Because yes, I only received maybe 1-2 checks off of our album. Right back then, that's when
I didn't get that.
Wow.
Well,
and that
you-
was
you
say
got-
back
you
when.
got-
I ain't get that.
You
I
got-
ain't get a dime. I ain't get a dime
don't
off
say
the album. I didn't.
No, did you have a Petworth Band jacket?
Yeah, I
That
had
was your
that.
payment.
No, but what I'm trying to say
I
on
think-
another level, Shine and them, they did Shady Grooves, they did the Mighty Peacemakers, they did Petworth.
Yeah. I think the Pumplanders too.
Yeah, they did. I don't know. I'm not sure about the Pumpkin. Pumpkin, I don't.
But
yeah, because they did the
I'ma
dip.
tell you
They
when
had the dip, but I
when
don't know if
got
Shine
that
them did.
first-
Somebody made some money off of that music. Trust and
like
believe
you said,
that.
I would agree with you because when I first got my first royalty check, I think it was for like $2,200, and we talking about like 30 years.
And all I got
Wow.
is a jacket.
That, you know, each one of them. Hey, look,
We gonna talk after
look.
this.
Hey,
You know what I'm
look,
saying?
Hey, look.
This
Each
damn
one,
tax ain't cost no
each-
2,200. Keep on talking.
each one. Each one of them jackets probably ran me about $75.
It still ain't gonna eke up to no $2,200.
I mean,
Was
I
it
mean,
even insulated material?
oh yeah, it was a good.
Y'all hear
jacket,
that?
just like
John
that.
Cavalier, I'm gonna tell y'all.
Brother
John K.O.
was it insulated though like this?
Nah, I still got mine, matter of fact. Rudy, Skin Tight. Who else we gonna add? Larry Guy.
Hey, look.
Yeah, we gonna have a meeting.
The only way you want to remember the band, like you just trying to figure
I'm just
out.
joking, man.
No.
But go
Let's
ahead.
say this right quick. You was
He gonna
trying
clean it up now. Go ahead, he gonna clean it up.
But look, what I was saying is though.
She said 20
Remember,
$20
remember,
jacket.
Petworth had their own sound system. Where did that sound system come? Part of the album, okay?
No, I can tell you where the sound system came from.
Yeah.
Sound system came from, I know I gave you some money for a PA board.
Yeah,
'cause
that's
I
what
was
I'm
out in the
saying.
street doing the thing.
Right.
But we had that stuff was paid for before that album. You know that.
Well,
Yeah,
Petworth
come,
Band
blah, blah,
always,
blah, blah,
we
blah,
always.
blah, blah. That stuff was paid for
Hey, look,
before
look,
that
look,
album.
we
You
always
trying to clean it
we
up.
got- Hey, now remember, Petworth Band was Petworth Band and show, right? Now we did our show. What distinguished us from other bands? You know what? I used to go out and buy a uniform for the bands. Okay, so all
Just
of that-
say you just want to get your money back for all the stuff you put out. That I
Pretty
can
much
understand
so.
that.
I
Okay.
had a lot invested, but this is what I wanted to say. Ghost, help me out with this right.
I'll help y'all. I ain't gonna leave y'all
Help me
there.
out just like he was trying to name the band members just now. But of course, we had our own signature song. Was called "Clap Your Hands," right?
Okay.
And at one point, we used to play "Clap Your Hands" because "Clap Your Hands" we used to introduce the band. Okay, so and it went a little something like this. It would go, help me out, go.
I wrote
Here-
that jump.
Okay,
Here we are, the Petworth Band. We gonna show you how we do it when we clap our hands. We got Bebop and Billy, my main man Ghost. The Kid Cavalier and my main man K.O. We got the Preacher, the Wizard, and my main man Ice-T. Larry and Gary and Young Boy, you
that's
see.
me.
And I said we won't stop rocking the show.
Hey.
Now act like you want to get it, and then we might leave here with it. Yeah,
So
so-
that used to be one of our signature songs. A lot of times we used to open up the show and see. One thing I used to stress to my band back in the day is the show. Okay, I mean you see some bands, they just stand up there. You know.
Yeah, it ain't no show no more.
Yeah,
It
they just stand there. And one thing
It's just all about making just being seen and getting that check.
Yeah, and we had our little showmanship. The different
And now, because they don't get a
songs.
check, they get cash now.
Oh
See,
yeah.
but
yeah,
the thing
yeah,
is,
yeah.
this is the thing with that is, you got to think about all the bands that I ain't talking about go-go bands,
Mm-hmm.
the Ohio Players, all the bands, Maze, Frankie Berry, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Rare Essence, when they was coming out with their thing, they
Mm-hmm.
was like, we got to do a show.
Oh,
Cause
yeah.
that's what bands did. They had the horn section,
Yeah,
stepping,
stepping,
and
right.
so all that. So now, the newer bands, they only have horn sections, right?
Right.
Um,
They got the key. They got the board that make all.
They had like 4 people or 5 people on the front line with no instrument. So,
Right.
but you have a rapper or 2 rappers, a singer, a guy singing, a girl singing, lead rapper. So that'd be 5 people. But back in the day, when you had 3 horns, lead
3
rapper.
keyboard
Because the
players.
musicians
Yeah,
were
yeah.
the singers as
Right,
well.
Yeah.
right, right,
so
right,
as
right.
time went on, it had got to a point one time. They done came from that when it used to be just like a percussion and 1 keyboard player, or at the most in go-go bands.
Right.
Like when my son and them, when they was doing their thing, they had H2O band, MOB, all these little younger bands was coming up. They didn't have a bass guitar player in the lead. They had the keyboards and the percussion.
Well, that's just like Junkyard used to be.
Yeah,
Strictly
but and
keyboards
I be
and
trying to tell
percussion.
people, even like that bass player at that time, we was you don't need a lot to crank. When
Mm-hmm.
you crank, you just need a good percussion and somebody to hold don on a keyboard. Don't it's just music. Don't you know what I'm
So they
saying?
gonna play the bass
And
line.
drop it off.
Right,
You know
right,
that's
right.
why I say go-go ain't really complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got people playing music now. You know, I'm talking about the grown and sexy people,
Mm.
older crowd, and we play music. They play music. So you got your crank, but that's one thing I can say about Junkyard. Even when we was playing, when they was with us in our era, when we stopped playing, my son and them had a band, right? And they had that second generation coming.
Right.
And they played out Virginia, right? And Bud, he ain't know none of them people, right? They were just walking around before they came on. I went over there, dapped them up because I knew who they was, right? And they were sitting there and they were just being cool. But when they came on and hit that stage, they cranked so hard. The drummer they had was a dude they call, he was a big dude. What's his name? Big Youngin. They cranked so hard. It was just like they went on the stage and that's what they do.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying?
I mean, they've been doing it 30,
They
40
so,
years.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So, but the youngest, the crowd, the other bands, they was like looking at them like, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I love about Junkyard. I don't think I ever seen them slump. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
And you didn't see some bands they don't give their 100%.
They can't.
When they get on that stage, Bud gonna make them crank.
Hey,
I'm trying to
but
tell
you
you.
know,
Like something kick
Like
in.
that spirit. The spirit hit them or something.
Let me tell you about we was talking about other bands with the go-go getting with the national artists like Chuck Brown and Gil Scott. And remember EU and Salt and Pepper. Okay?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I was shocked when they, hooked up and they did that. But now every band just about I have a good or a bad experience with. I remember the first time we played with Experience Unlimited at the Northwest Gardens, right? Back then I was a Rare Essence fan, Trouble fan. I didn't really know nothing about Experience Unlimited. Well, that's what we used to call them back in the day, instead of EU. I didn't really know too much about them, but we played at this little place on Kennedy Street. That's another place that's gone. It was called the Northwest Gardens.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
And-
CVS now. Ain't it?
yeah, it's a
Something like
CVS. But the thing about it is when we played with EU, I didn't even know nothing about really Sugar Bear. I just knew it was a bigger band than us, right? So
Right.
then again, we did our show, and I never forget before they started playing, I was talking to my brother Quentin Ross. We were standing on the side and was like, man, who the hell is the EU? What is the EU, right?
Oh, for real?
Yeah, we didn't really know.
Oh, okay.
And I still remember, I don't know if Juju was playing with them at the time.
Nah, back then it wasn't Juju.
But
It was
but-
Butch.
Yeah, because for a while,
It was
everybody was
Butch.
just calling
Guy
him
named Butch.
Experience Unlimited before it got captured as
Right,
EU.
EU. Yeah,
But,
we used
a
to
guy
call
named
it
Butch
Sprint.
was playing back then.
Right.
May he rest in
But
peace.
one thing that I remember was that me and my brother was standing and saying, oh, man, what about this band? But the only thing I remember to me, EU had a good horn
Yes,
section.
their string. Oh, their horns.
And I remember when they clapped the sticks and EU came out with dun 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 dun. Me and my brother looked at us like, time to go.
And then they had that slow cut. I have to get it close to your
Oh
love.
yeah, that pretty much went
Yeah,
national.
oh,
Yeah.
man.
But see, I realized
That
before
joint was bad.
EU was together playing music before
Went
Go-Go.
to Go-Go. Mhm.
Yeah,
And
oh,
then
they was a
eased
music
into the
band.
Go-Go. Even Trouble Funk, they was together playing music before Go-Go started. And I remember Rio Evans telling me the story. How the story when he say it was Chuck Brown, right?
Because that's what I was going to ask. Did the Soul Searchers, Chuck came out through the Soul
what happened?
Searchers?
What happened? Chuck Brown was got that hit busting loose.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And see, Chuck Brown, before he played Go-Go, he was actually playing R&B. Because if you listen to their albums back in the day,
It was mostly
music.
our music.
Yeah. So when they got that hit busting loose, boom, rah, doom, tss, ga, boom, that was the beat. And if you really look at it, it really wasn't Go-Go, but that what he
That
was
horn,
talking about.
dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they went on the road with that. But they was cranking. Chuck had Club to Burn on lock.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that.
So when they went on tour, right, that's when Trouble Funk stepped in. And at first they wasn't packing it because they was playing songs and they was stopping in between and all this stuff, right?
Right.
But Big Tony and Dyke and all them, they got that thing together. So when Chuck came back, Trouble was like a force to be reckoned with, you know. And it was like they
Head
was
on
back.
head. Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? So how did we get on that? I just lost my train of thought.
I don't know.
We was just talking about how
Yeah,
first we
yeah.
started about how the bands had Go-Go's going nowhere. Recapping for you was out there
Oh,
to pay
okay,
attention.
yeah.
Go-Go's no
And
going
you talking
nowhere.
about EU and the horn
And
section.
then we was
these
talking
things.
about how the significance from the differentiation from each band to band, like we was talking about from EU to Red Essence to Trouble, and to all those other bands. And then before we get away with the time,
Yeah, let
we
me-
have to recap. We have to
Okay.
recap back on.
We didn't get on the other thing.
Yeah, we got to recap on what happened at Vox Wave. If you
yeah.
want to
Well,
set
let me
some things
before
straight.
we go there, we gonna set
Okay.
that straight. We got
Okay.
like 14, couple of minutes, but
17 minutes. Yeah.
you looking at me like.
I think y'all both have been astounded since he get royalties and he got a jacket. We still trying to get that through the
That's
air.
a whole nother show. Right? So anyway,
But it's love. It's love.
Yeah, I wanted to get into more of the players too.
because like you say, time ticking.
Okay, go ahead.
We racing the clock, but we ain't want to give too much energy on this no way.
Right, that's supposed to just
'cause it was
recap it
negative.
real
But
quick.
it was said. Did you see the clip from Vox Wave?
I never even seen the clip.
But
because I wasn't
Go-Go
even
Billy basically
tripping on the
said-
clip because it's not true. But so
You just if you want to see the clip, you just go to Vox Wave. You watch the clip. But what
And
I'm
it was
gonna say
on,
is,
what was the guy's show that is on Vox Wave?
640.
640 show is what we recapping
so
from
we,
the interview.
We not gonna tap into
From
that negative
Petworth.
energy. But what I will say is, how did the band end? You know what I'm saying? What was the breakup?
Put it this way: if you know,
Talking to Mike.
bit back in the day, around about 1986, 87, as I was
Probably
saying,
87.
Yeah, I was noticing as a band manager that the Go-Go was finding hard to play somewhere. okay, the bands was breaking up all over, right? It was hard to play someplace. I was going through, we used to practice at my mother's house up on Farnham Street, which is in the Petworth neighborhood, right? Right before my my grandfather actually came to live with us. I don't know if you can remember that we had stopped practicing at my mother's house, okay?
Yeah.
Pops was like, you know, that every Thursday night noise, he wasn't going to have it then. And then what was happening, we had a club up on Georgia Avenue that we used to practice in on Thursdays.
I think that was after I left. Though. That was after I left.
But anyway, just like I was saying, now back to you, when did you leave, or why did you leave?
I left like in like 85. The reason why I left because, like Billy said at that show, that it was a drummer, you know, Mike, that used to play with Unifunk, went in the service. And he was coming out. And y'all brought him up there to put him in the band and behind my back. And Billy said he told you, Chip, don't do that. So back then we ain't had cell phones. I just came through for whatever reason. And I heard somebody in there playing. It was Mike and Billy. But I told Billy, you was on the damn thing.
Billy was your band, though. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I brought him to
Billy
the band.
Came with
So,
the band.
so I'm like, what the fuck going on, basically? Woo. So I took my set. Right then and there, I started breaking my shit down. Told him to get off my set. Put my stuff in the car, and that was it. I was done.
Well,
so
like
that's how I left the band.
Okay, so
and then,
around that time, after we made the album, after the album was doing great, but just like I said earlier in the show, that after a while, it was hard to find some place to play at. I mean, it was no place, literally no place to play at. So what was happening is that we wasn't practicing no more. The band just started deteriorating, pretty much doing nothing, right? My father, a lot of people don't know this story. My father used to always get on me about getting the band equipment out the basement because we couldn't practice in the basement no more, right? And believe it or not, even though my father rested in peace, I came home one day, he put all the equipment out in the backyard. Okay.
Damn.
I mean, just totally put the speakers. He wrote everything out in the backyard. Seriously, like rolled everything out in the backyard. I took some of the equipment down to Perfect Image. That's Mike studio, right? I took some of that, such a PA board, and still today, the spot that we practice at, Mike still have the original Petworth Band PA board. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
So what happened was when my father put the stuff out in the backyard, and, you know, I wasn't really thinking as a young man to go get a storage bin, and I wasn't working or anything, right? The only thing I remember, me and my brother, we put big plastic over all the speakers, right? And by day, whenever it rained, the speakers was getting wet and so on, right? Now remember, we didn't have no place to play. It just got to the point it was just no place to play. Okay, so therefore we wasn't practicing and everything, and then what happened was I did sell the band equipment because it was just getting destroyed. I mean, I'm
let me say this. No, I wanted to laugh because not what you said, right? I always tell people when somebody start off with a sentence like, "See, what happened was," you know some shit. Probably go there. Yeah. But go ahead.
But
so
anyway,
start off what happened was.
Anyway, that my father, right? Like say, rest in peace, Pop. And I'm gonna tell you, I really hated my father for that. And I just wanted to be like, okay, I wish I could get big and go famous, right? Because I mean, he gave me fair enough warning that I had to get the equipment out of the basement because my grandfather came to live with us, right? And that I mean, it really hurted me when he put the stuff out in the basement. It stayed in the backyard for about a month or two, getting waterlogged. The speakers starting to fade and wood was beginning to chip because, like I said, we had a ton of speakers. At that point, we had 3 bass speakers on each side, 2 mid-range and the horns and the tweeters, right?
The doubles, the stacks,
So as, like I say, it was just basically no place for us to play. And it was a DJ that I knew. And I sold the equipment to him.
So when you say it was no place to play, But Go-Go was still moving forward. People was playing and stuff. Backyard was still playing, and the other bands. So when you say
but
no place to play,
put it this place, the places that we normally played at.
Oh,
Howard
okay.
Theater got shut down. That was our number one
Black
spot.
Hole.
The Black Hole. We used to
Right.
play at the Black Hole.
The Metro Club.
If you ask this question, any interview that you have, all the bands back then not the bigger bands. The bigger bands kept it together. Just
Right.
like you asked me, like Air Raid, they broke up. Class Band broke up. But all that started happening in the same era.
I see what you're saying when the venue starts.
Yeah. I mean, it was just.
So I got to get the question out because I don't want people saying you had them in there. So as far as the drugs, when he say you had got on drugs, and that was the downfall of Petworth. Was that true or was that not true?
No, that wasn't true. Now, when he said I got on drugs, I mean, honestly speaking, right, when the PCP came out, that era, yeah, I used to smoke PCP. I used to smoke it sitting at the PA board. That's what I'm telling the truth. I'm being honest with you. You know, not like I was like really smoking it. You know,
a lot of people actually got tricked by that drug. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, but the thing about it,
because it was a crossover from going from marijuana to Angel Dust, and then to
after
PCP.
Dust came Wacky Weed, and after Wacky Weed came the boat.
The thing about
LOVEBOAT.
Well, we even made a song about that. I mean, we were
what you want to smoke?
Or do you got a silver bullet? You got to pull the trigger. You got a silver bullet. Got to pull the trigger in it. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I tried the Love Boat at the show and everything like that. I remember one night down at Howard Theater, we were smoking, but the Petworth Band was already playing. And just like I said, I was the sound man. I never took no sound courses or anything. I just learned as I went along with the sound equipment. Yeah.
Right.
And I smoked Love Boat before.
And that's the question to that.
Yeah.
The answer to that.
But
it was
he said yes, he smoked it, but that wasn't the downfall of the band. The downfall was that venues were shutting down. His father put the equipment out the house. They had really nowhere to practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
what I want to clarify, what I heard that they said that I was smoking crack and I got turned out on crack. I ain't never smoked no crack. I ain't never sell no band equipment at no pawn shops.
Because I'm sitting here looking at all his real teeth.
and you know, just like people joke about it and stuff like that. I was like, no, that is not the true story.
Because I wasn't there. I had left.
Yeah, I mean,
and I couldn't talk on that because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So when Billy said that, I was like, wow. And then I was like, why would you even say that on the air?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
See, just like I say, with the band, I have some bands that members, they like me, they love me because I done fired them before. Yeah, Go-Go Billy got fired before. Just like Lawrence just said here and said that he got fired before.
I mean, I quit. I ain't never get fired.
That was one of those cases you quit before you got fired.
But I ain't never get fired.
Right. But just to clear up the story, no Howard Ross Neville, or young boy that used to call me Neville, was on no crack cocaine, and I sold the band equipment for some crack.
Oh yeah, so he basically said that out of anger or animosity.
In those cases, people do, and what they do, like you said. You wasn't there to speak for yourself.
And let me say this: Gary Clark said the same thing, that wasn't true, and he wanted to be here, but right now he's down 8th Street Day, and he got a lot of other events going on, so he's doing good, he's well, so.
Yeah, but just like I say, bits and pieces of the story is right. Okay, I did sell the band equipment, but it wasn't because I wanted drugs or anything. I sold the band equipment just because it was getting terrorized. It was getting all wet up in the rain.
Of course,
so.
and if you wasn't using it anymore, what's sense?
All this band equipment sitting out in the backyard, people used to come around there thinking we about to play. You know what I'm saying? Because the speakers were sitting out in the backyard.
But it's a good thing they ain't steal them. Guess where I come from, down in Surson Quarter. Shit.
And then,
put some speakers in the yard. See how long they stay.
And in the close up on that interview, I just want to say on this, sometimes other people, when they see that they're not doing so well, they try to demise another person's legacy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because your legacy probably stands out more so than the other counter person, and I find that going on, even grown folks, into this day, our age, and he's doing it now. And I just had it done to me, but people, not like directly at me. I had it done indirectly, but it just kills me that people feel that they have to demise another person in order to lift themselves.
Well, this is
it's crazy.
another story that I wanted to talk about right quick.
Okay, because we got like what?
6 minutes.
Okay.
6 minutes.
Okay,
6
let-
minutes.
let-
Like a
let-
fresh.
Let me ask. I'm gonna see if we can get a little more
Okay,
overtime.
but
for
let-
Holler at the
let-
Man, 'cause
let
we
me-
did start late.
Let me explain this to you. One day that when we made the album Freak Body, we put it out, which Go-Go Billy didn't play on that particular song, right? So I went to give them band copies of it. This was probably about 7 years ago, right?
Cool, we got
So,
10 minutes.
yeah, well, about 6 years ago. So Billy and Money, the rapper, right? Call him Money Man. We was talking, and Billy said, "You know, Chip, something I want to get off my chest after 30 years."
This was recently.
Yeah, this was recent. This was before the interview, like maybe about a year ago. He said, "Chip, it's something I really want to get off my chest." And I said, okay. Him, Money was the rapper with Cabaloo. Because, see, back in the day, I had so many band members coming through the band. We had Go-Go Lorenzo was rapping for us one time. We had John Cabaloo and Money, man. Those always
Right.
been our main rappers, right? So Billy told me he wanted to get something off his chest. And I said, well, Billy, you know, after 30 years. I said, well, seriously.
Wow.
I said, well,
See what I'm saying?
I said, what's this?
People,
This
people,
is
people.
deep. I said, well, let's talk about it.
That's a long time to curse something with 30 years.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
That's why I'm glad I wasn't like that.
But can you
I said
imagine-
what I had to
but
say.
can you imagine that
You either
person's
like
heart,
it,
though?
You either like it or you don't.
listen. But check this out. If this man sat up here and said that he think the band broke up because I was smoking crack and all of this stuff right here. Now this grudge that he told me that he been held inside him for 30 years, right? And I said, well, Billy, get it off your chest. What you holding? He said that time we played at the Coliseum, I didn't let him play. I let Skin Tight play the Congo. He said he went over, walked home crying. You know what I'm saying? But
Wow.
I mean, this is deep. You know, this was deep to me that I never knew back then
That
when
that
I
hurt.
fired people. I never knew that I made them cry. You know what I'm saying? And then,
But you gotta realize that's
but
love of it.
I didn't
That's the
know.
love of
I
the
didn't.
music.
I didn't know. As me being a young manager, I didn't really know that this man didn't like me because I didn't let him play at a show. That he actually cried.
But he said one show it was he bought birthday cake and all that, and and y'all ain't show up. And he said I told him, man, F that shit. You should just quit. And he said that's why when he had quit.
Yeah.
But
but
people hold stuff in. I'm glad I ain't
yeah,
used to
but
hold
see,
stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's
just
crazy.
like
And like when I
said,
seen them on my drum set, it was a rap. I was like, oh, all the shit I done did for this band.
and you did live for Petworth. Yeah,
Yeah,
you did live. Yeah,
and
because you're
I
like
come
one
up
of my
here
managers.
and this was going on. So I was like, cool. You know, because like I said, I just took my shit. I can say it hurt in a little bit, but I was chasing that money back then.
Right.
And so
the thing about it, that day when Billy told me that he had that grudge against me for 30 years, right? Money was there too, the rapper. And Money said, well, Chip, you know what? I'd hold a grudge against you too, because that time you let Cabaloo rap at the theater, he said he went and walk home crying. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But
I ain't do all that crying.
But things like this is that I didn't know back then that if I told a person. But see, one thing about me is that Petworth had 3 rappers, right?
Four rappers.
Who was the other one?
The first rapper, what's his name? Googie?
Oh, Kenny, Goofy.
Kenny, yeah.
Goofy,
He was the
right,
first rapper.
Right. See, one thing about me, I would let this rapper rap this show. I would let that rapper rap that show. Or see, sometimes you might see all of them on the stage. I mean, that's just the way I was with the band, right? That even though I was more the band manager, but Lawrence, you know for yourself, when I met you,
Right.
I let you take over the band,
Right.
as far as the organizing.
Yeah, because
of
see what
the-
it was when I say
you know.
over Vox Way was, even when I first, and that's what tripped me out. When you say 30-year grudge, when I had y'all reunion, the first reunion,
Oh yeah,
the second
I
reunion.
can't talk on that one.
I can talk on it because I couldn't believe it.
That we didn't get Lawrence to play at the reunion.
No,
right?
it wasn't that. What it was, Nate called me
Uh-huh.
and said, Ghost, I'm putting this thing together, I want you to play. I was
Right.
like, cool, fine. So we talked back and forth for like 2-3 weeks. And the thing was, he say, Tony Crowder was gonna play and you was gonna play. We just gotta see what songs y'all was gonna play, right? So I was like, cool. And I don't know what they said to Nate, right? But I got to practice. I brought my son up there, and the bass player wasn't there, so I let my son play the bass. And so Tony was playing, and so me and Cavalloo was kicking it. So we went outside, and I was letting him hear some tracks that my son had did because he's a producer. So I said, okay, the hour up, let me go in here and get on the drums. So I go in there, and Nate ain't never said, Tony, get all the drums. He listening to a tape of me playing, learning some songs that I say, the fuck? I'm standing right here. So I'm waiting for them. So he never got off the drum set. And Skin Tight and them, and they was there. So I said, oh, I get it now. That's they click. When I got with the band, they wanted, Tony was gone. Skin Tight wanted Daryl to play drums. Daryl played with somebody had a black drum set.
Yeah, he played with us for a little bit. Yeah.
So basically what I'm saying is, it was always like a little power struggle. So I say, okay, since they doing that, I had brought Chucky in there. I brought Billy up there. Even Troy.
The keyboard
I brought Troy up. Right. All these people came from Chaos. But Bebop, I thought I brought Bebop, but Bebop said he was up there first, and he came through there through Tony Crowder, because Tony had told him about the band. Yeah. So either way it went, them 4 members right there was from Chaos. So I had them in there, and I'm a Libra, I'm a leader. Whatever I do, that's just what I do. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you let me take over, basically.
Right, because like,
and they hold a grudge against that shit.
Yeah, because when I met Ghost, did I see his leadership, right? And I'm gonna tell y'all one, because we always had problem with equipment for some reason, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was buying all this equipment, didn't know how to hook it up or whatever.
Right.
But we had our own particular sound, right? And I remember one day we played at Leonard Town Drill Hall. That's probably a 2 or 3 hour ride from DC. Of course, I didn't know where. I know we played with Experience Unlimited or EU. They played first because they had another show. And I still remember the show as today. By the time we got there, we was late getting there. We would only take my crew about 30 minutes to set up. And then we didn't have all the microphones on. And then the band, they didn't want to play. The manager running around telling me to play. He's going to die. And then look, this is a $500 show. If you want to know, you know, because they so used to the $300 shows I was doing. This was a $500 show, right? So anyway, and I went to Ghost, right? I said, Ghost.
I remember that night in Cavalloo say, don't play.
Yeah. Look. I told Ghost, I said,
excuse me, I'm sorry.
I think we had one. I think we had one microphone on. I had the bass drum and the guitar and the snare drum on. And Cavalloo was telling John, Ghost, don't play to young boy, get all the equipment. I went over there to the back and said, Ghost, play. he just started playing by himself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's the stuff that I liked about him, that he was my right hand man. Yeah, he would take, even though the equipment wasn't working. I'm looking at this man telling me if I don't play, he gonna dock me $100. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling them to play.
And the reason why I played is because he was the manager. He had the power. You gonna be in this band or you ain't gonna be in this band. Right. No matter what the band said. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day,
he had the last.
That's like when you go to your job.
But you know what though? Every band. Just about all the bands, you always talk about who was stars and who wasn't stars. Like a lot of people remember Petworth for Ghost. And you know why? Because we used to have this chanting every time. One time we did the Howard Theater,
I remember,
right?
That, and also the
and I kept that video for a while, and I still wish I had it. We used to have this chant. The crowd would say, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Right, we used to play the
Remember that movie came out, the Blockbuster? Yeah, that was my era right there.
Yeah, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. We'd send him out there by himself. He started the show by himself, just him kicking the drums with the keyboard player, the conga player, right? And then look, we had these, we had these white capes, right? That came out on each side of the stage after they were saying, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. And I swear to God, the first time in the history with me dealing with the Howard Theater, because I was working on the Howard Theater, right? I figured out a way to close the curtains. Right, so all those shows, this was the first show that the curtains was closed. Ghost was behind it, started singing, "We ain't afraid of no ghosts." He started playing, and as the curtains opened up, we came from each side of the stage. We had white capes on like ghosts. We had the fog machine.
Wow.
That's a show. They say part of the show.
We always had a show.
And we did that out of Coliseum too, and Gerald had that blue wig on.
Yeah.
So we was performing, man. That was
we always had a show, and just like I was saying that, I still wish today that I would have kept this thing together with all the stuff that the band went through, the Go-Go went through.
Yeah.
I wish some type of way I would have just kept it together.
Maintained.
But see, the thing is to that is that right now, you here, you drug free.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You still got your logo.
Oh yeah.
You still got your name.
Yeah.
You got with it. Only thing you just got to put the energy and the effort behind.
Yeah, that's
you understand what I'm saying?
I gotta get back.
Like
out
we even
here.
with Red S's, it ain't like they was on top all the time. They was on top for a long time, but they had their era when they going through stuff too. People quitting,
right?
And this and that.
All the bands did.
Yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is,
it's not how you
it's
fall,
here now.
it's how you rise.
There you go. There
so
you go.
how many times you fall down? It's how many times you get up.
Correct.
So basically, you here. So now there ain't nothing stopping you. You know, that's what I'm saying.
But just like I was saying, these 2 CDs, there was one CD with multiple songs on. I'm in the market to get it on the radio.
Okay.
It's a lot of things that I need to learn how to do.
And let me say this too. Now, the era has changed. It ain't like it used to be. With this social media, with these cell phones.
Right.
It's so easy to put songs out there and get people to
you
follow
just got to
you
come
and-
up with something that's cranking and they got a message.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
And then you're going to build followers, right? So it ain't like that mindset was back in the day.
But
you can let me say you can have a hit or have some songs and somebody in a whole nother country or city be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? And then what you do, wherever you're following at, you just put something together and you go to where you're following. That's when you go make the money.
With the Go-Go's that I've been to lately, I get out, to me, the crowds don't be like they used to be.
Because it ain't.
It's
you
a
know.
totally
You gotta
different vibe.
realize,
Yeah,
you used
Totally
to.
different.
I'm used to 400-500
You used to-
people at the show.
No, but check this out.
You know?
He used to
Like you said, packing the house.
filet mignon.
Yeah.
That's what you
Right.
used to.
Yeah. But right
Now they
now,
on fucking.
Fish sticks.
But check this
Chicken
out.
nuggets.
Not all of them.
Right, not all
I'm
of
gonna tell you
them.
the band I like. The band I like right now, I like Familiar Faces, right? And I like Backyard.
And you got to get a girl some pride. Belladonna, they
Yeah,
doing their thing.
Belladonna, they do their thing,
yeah.
but what I'm saying, they crank.
Yes,
I'm
they
just
do.
saying, for like when I want to go out, ever since Chuck passed away, you know, I used to always go see Chuck.
Yeah, me too.
And then I would like Red S's, the old Red S's, you know, with funk.
Because they were
and
more smooth.
That was us. That's what I grew up on.
Yeah.
But, you know, so now, if I would go out to see a band, they would be Familiar Faces or even Backyard. So with that being said, you know, you can do your thing, you can make money, but it ain't like it's never gonna be like it used to be.
But it ain't going nowhere.
That's the title.
No, it ain't going nowhere.
That's the title of
as far
our
as-
interview. We're going to name Go-Go ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, it ain't
It
going
never
nowhere.
be the same, but it ain't going nowhere.
And then, like I say, even the Beat Your Feets, when and with all that Timbali era with the youngest and stuff, and they was calling it Go-Go, and some people were saying it's that Go-Go, that ain't Go-Go because the Congos wasn't in it. I say it was Go-Go. It was just a different era of Go-Go.
Correct.
Because that was our bloodline. That was our
But
sons
you know,
and
let
daughters.
Let me top on this topic, just like we talked on about Petworth Band and the other bands breaking up, right? Now, at one point, the little bands like the TCBs and the CBB, they came out. They was really strong at one time. Now, what's happening with them bands today?
See, what happened was the generations. You got generations. That's just like when Chuck was cranking.
Yeah.
I ain't messing with no Chuck. I was with Red S's.
Me too.
But my brothers in them,
Was with Chuck.
that was that generation. But what happened was they hooked up with Rio, and Rio had that booming system,
Right.
and Lock rolling and Sugarfoot saying, it's just like Essence like went down for a minute because Chuck had him.
Oh, yeah.
You understand?
Well, Chuck had the scene.
And
for
I'm
a
gonna tell you
minute.
some
Yeah,
little
yeah.
politics.
He was dominant.
This was politics. Chuck used to be down the Masonic Temple, wall to wall, sweating in that joint.
I used to go down.
Essence was up at the Black Hole, and they were real. Based on they said they would call the police and say they over
Capacity.
the
I
capacity.
remember
The fire
marshals,
marshals used to
yeah.
come and shut that joint
yeah,
down. They used to bring the police in, and that's when Chuck started hitting that. The policeman is on the premises. And see, this is something we live. Ain't nobody telling me this
Right.
shit. So when somebody want to say, "Oh, he don't know what he talking about here," nah, we live this. So we got a lot of stories that we not telling, just due to the fact of respect. You understand what I'm saying? You just don't get on this social media and just run your mouth. I don't do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. And
Let's see a little bit of that. Waiting for the world to change. If you can get it on, go.
okay, if we can get this
Waiting
one
for the
selection
world.
on,
Yeah. Well, we
What is
closing
it?
out. Waiting for the world. to
Waiting
change.
for the World.
It's a remix of John Myers. Yeah, but
Remix
it's the
of John
go-go-
Myers. Okay.
Go-go version of it.
The go-go version. Check it out. And thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back next week.
Sometimes I don't wanna get out of bed, man. Things are so bad in the world today.
they don't want to get out of
Waiting
bed.
for the world to change instead of trying to change the world. Me and all my friends, we're all misunderstood. They say we stand for nothing, and there's no way we ever could. Now we see everything that's going wrong with the world and those who need it. We just feel like we don't have the means to rise above and beat it. So we just waiting on the world to change. We just waiting on the world to change. It's hard to beat the system when we're standing at a distance. So we keep waiting on the world to change. Now if we had the power to bring our neighbors home from war, they would never miss the Christmas, no more ribbons on their door. And when you trust your television, what you get is what you got. Cause when they own the information, no, they can bend it all they want. And we just waiting on the world to change. We just waiting on the world to change. It's not that we don't care, we just know the fight ain't fair. We keep waiting on the world to change. Ooh, I wish there was some place that we could go to energize our minds, bodies, and souls. Then maybe we could learn to love and grow, but we just won't.
Look, come on y'all, I think we gotta change the world. Every day I'm working harder and I got a little girl. I want her to be successful, I buy her diamonds and pearls. On the road to like we riding, I'm just driving, I can't swerve. I just look her in her eyes and tell her, baby, it's love. I know it's hard when the police just make us sit on the curb. We gotta change if we're trying to change the world. Just take care of the future, don't let them know how it was. We moving on, we know about Dr. King, trying to be doctors and kings. See what impossible brings, we love it, no hate in this thing. I'm focused daily, trying to see what the happiness brings. Look, I created it, and it's the reason I sing. For all the better people around the world who trying to make a change. We gotta make a change, yo, come on. We gotta make a change. Say we gotta make a change.
So we keep on waiting. We waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. One day our generation is gonna rule the population. Keep on waiting on the world to change. We're just waiting. We're waiting on the world to change. We keep waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change.
But thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, here they are once again, from the upper crest of Northwest Washington, D.C. The new tune for the love of Josephine. They call themselves Petworth Band and Show.
Sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water, and I think of all the things that you do. In my mind I paint a picture. When I come home and I'm tired from work, I see your pretty face and the way you love to dress. Don't you ever think about leaving me? Oh, how I love my Josephine, my Josephine, my Josephine. Yeah, my Josephine. Sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water, and I think of all the things that you do. In my mind I paint a picture.